This is Christina, and you're watching Custom Games. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are now in What Remains of Edith Finch, a story about, well, Edith Finch and what remains of the Finch family. The Finch family is cursed, maybe, and it is up to Edith to try and figure out what the curse is, if anything, and how to maybe avoid it, since she is now essentially the last Finch standing. Of course, I'm joined by Chase again. Say hi, Chase. So we're going to go ahead and start. I cannot play the music right at the start, but as soon as we get to a point where the music is playable, I will turn it on. Because right at the start is a concerto that is copyrighted. Oh, there's also a Halloween segment that I gotta cut out. Damn. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's actually playing the Halloween music.
Yeah.
Alright, so it looks like we're on a boat, and... Alright. Oh, this is controller. I can never remember with this game. Yeah.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
Okay, I want to balance the audio real quick. Let's bring the sound effects down. Music can be up now. Okay.
Someone had put up a chain link fence, but it looked like I wasn't the first person to hop it. My brother Milton disappeared when I was 4. It was like the house just swallowed him up.
All right. So, this is a walking simulator. So, let's get very acquainted with the fact that this is the speed we will be moving at for most of the night.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
Chase, I know you've seen bits of this game. Do you want to talk about what you have seen?
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
What I do remember of this game feels like a fever dream, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
So... yeah, there's that.
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral. In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
All right, are we taking the low road or the high road?
Low road.
Low road.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to. The woods around the house have always been uncomfortably silent. As if they're about to say something, but never do.
Neat old little truck.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about
And
it.
there's the house. Fun fact, Chase, I don't know if I've told you this. I actually built this in Minecraft at one point.
Oh, neat.
I have actually considered doing it again for one of the Cozy pre-streams. But I would have to do a whole lot of measuring again.
Yeah.
Cassie should remember that build. Let's go up this way.
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words.
Especially with us having chipped. I think that'll give me enough different textures to work with to build
Now,
it.
as a 17-year-old,
Yeah.
I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house. I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't. Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me.
Okay, this way. Oh, wait a minute. We go out and look down. Is it over here? I think we're gonna see a precursor of something for later.
I asked Edie once about the
Yeah!
dragon in the pond. She said it had killed her husband.
Oh.
I was 6. It seemed like an odd joke to me even then.
Remember that. It will be important to the story later. All right. The sound design, the narration, everything about this game, I just love.
Yeah.
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
I mean, even the lighting design in this game is beautiful. I mean, look at that.
Uh-huh. They play really well with ambient colors.
Yeah, and they're using it really well to sort of shape tone.
The power had been turned off the night we left. For the first time in years, I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
And I guess we'll remember this stuff for later. Let's see. Nothing to get there.
Like how after Lewis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly. Or how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot. The table was still a wreck from the night we left. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
I also love how they're putting the subtitles like on different
My mom was
pieces
the only
of
one
the
of us who could
game.
imagine Great Grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
And on a couple of these, they actually use the words to direct you in the direction they want you to go.
Yeah. Get your camera turned that way and you're like, oh.
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth.
I always thought
Even
this
the
would be a
fireplace
gorgeous
had a
room
story.
to
Edie
like
told me the
have in
bricks
an
came
actual
from the
house
original house after it sank.
after it sank. Oh yeah, in fact, you can see it out there. Head out there.
Yep.
All right. Basement key.
Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
And let's see, looking in the peephole for the library.
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
No, not that
A
one.
lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night. My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
Don't stop believing. Oh, sorry.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
So, like right here. Walk forward. And then it actually pulls you to one of the peepholes that it wants you to look in. Calvin.
My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
We'll see them in a moment. We have Gregory, only a year old.
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
Sven and Edie.
The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
Oh, that's an interesting detail I didn't think about. They had to have been back to the house, or Edie knew she would die that night. Spoilers for later in the story. But Edie's name is there. Those are her memorializations of the people who died.
Yeah.
Who did that one? Like that's some precursor level shit.
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
The other one that we can't show the music for, which we will deal with later.
Mom must
Right,
have
third
locked
floor?
the third floor stairs on the night we left.
Okay, nothing really there. Barbara, 16? Yeah.
Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it.
Edie's father, Odin, built the original house.
Nice little lore dumps. And let's do Molly, who was 10.
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
I also love how, for a
I'm back.
lot of them... Oh, welcome back. I also love how, for a lot of these, the art in some way alludes to what has happened. We'll see more of it in a little bit. All right. Well, this one's open. That's a good
I spent
sign.
a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him. Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets.
And
Now it was time
unlike
to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
unlike the first time I built this in Minecraft, I can actually make these usable now. Look
From
left.
the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. but I had no idea what was behind that door. Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
All right, trigger warning. If you
December 13th,
are sensitive to the death of animals,
Dear
this
Diary,
would be
I'll
a
be
good
gone
point
soon,
to tune
but I
out.
wanted to
We
tell
will see you in
somebody
about
what's
10
been happening.
minutes.
It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Also, if you are disturbed by slightly gross things.
The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it. Mom, can I come out now?
Sweetheart, it's late. Go to sleep.
I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back.
I love the cute little goldfish. Here.
I ate a lot of things that night. I kept eating and eating. Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly, I was a cat. I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared. Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
Where do I need to go? Probably down this way. Pull. This is one of the few spots that's a bit difficult to navigate.
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass. Rabbits.
Got one.
I imagined his
Trigger
face
warning.
looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
Listening.
A mama rabbit.
Right there. Got it. That is
She
the
was
best
almost
I've
too big
ever
to
done
chew.
on that portion.
I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
I love how they kind of like perfectly portrayed the mind of a kid here. Because it's just silly enough
I rolled off
to
the cliff
work.
and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
Trigger warning for blood coming up.
I wanted fat, juicy seals. I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good. I grabbed on tight. When I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
Oh, that's right. It's this now.
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
Chase, can you look at my Steam? Or can you see my achievements for this game?
I don't know. Look.
I'm curious if I've got the achievement Let Him Finish.
No, I think you've got them all because when we first were planning this, you went on and got your last achievement.
See, I don't remember
was
if I
big,
did or not.
But I moved real quiet.
I thought Let Him Finish was the one we didn't get because I didn't last long enough.
Achievement progress, 9 of 9.
9 of 9. Okay. So in that case, we don't have to sit around and wait for him to finish singing.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
Oh, did I just bug it? I just bugged it.
You broke the game?
I did. I actually don't know that we can get out of it.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Okay, let's do this. Let's knock the music out so I don't have to be constantly talking over it. Oh, that's apparently not music. It's sound effects. Yes, it is sound effects. Do I have any way around it? No, I've got him bugged. He actually will not get pulled to me, I don't think. Well, good dry run. Go again.
It's the only thing we can do.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to. We're gonna move a little bit quicker this time.
2 hours later.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
Okay, do not go under the bench. Go between the benches. Okay, eating him. Aha! Okay, we have now picked up where we left off.
Yay!
Then. Getting heebie-jeebies, I'm
After
out.
The last passenger,
No worries,
I was
Boog.
still hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it.
Okay, let's put the music back, or put the sound effects back on.
I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe. I got closer and closer. All of my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
All right. And so claims the first life. Not chronologically, but yes.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have. This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly. I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room. We got along, and it was a good place to hide from my mom. Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Now I gotta stop being a speedrunner and I need to slow down.
Every year, just in time to replace the old ones.
Just a little.
I gotta
The
slow
room's like
down
a
and hear all
museum.
the dialogue again.
For 500
Oh,
years, the
Viewmaster.
Finches have been famous throughout Norway
Huh?
for their
Oh.
fortune and
It's a Viewmaster.
misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johann. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
There we go.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Let's see. I think this is the way forward.
Even in her 90s. Sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom.
It was a pretty big trace. There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Oh, why would you do that? Did you just see she's closed the book on top of the pop out?
Yeah, but shh.
Ah!
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me. I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin, and that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
Oh, this scene.
Oh.
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Calvin, dinner's ready.
Coming!
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
One more.
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, and maybe he'd
no.
still be here.
One more.
But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind.
Really?
That's what I want to remember about my brother.
There it is.
That's the day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Physics took a break there temporarily.
Uh-huh.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Can we talk about the fact that this space shuttle has a clutch?
I was gonna say, can we talk about the fact that the shuttle has brakes?
Brakes are not without reason, because that just means fire retro thrusters, okay? I can get behind a brake pedal on a spaceship, but what's the clutch for?
You know, you ain't wrong.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room. Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
I love this opening. It's just so cool. Okay.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Open this while I'm here. We'll be needing that in a moment.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star. I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Okay, this is going to be the moment where I need to cut the music off. I apologize in advance.
Is it music or is it sound effects?
We're going to find out really quick.
Lol.
Oh, yeah.
Of all the stories people wrote
This
about
one?
Barbara's death, I'm
Remember
surprised
it now?
Edie saved this one.
Yeah, I can do a bad rendition of it, so it seems like we're there.
Oh boy.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch.
Phrasing.
As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
Okay, we're
You're
about to
right.
find out.
Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
I have a
Yes.
question.
What?
Rick went downstairs,
Uh-huh.
which means Rick used the key.
Uh-huh.
Why is the key out of the door shut and locked, and the key back in the music box if Rick was downstairs?
I have asked that for years. I have never figured out how it worked.
Like, what?
Also, it was music.
Good.
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Fun fact, there is an achievement for clearing the pool table with the crutch. Because you can thwack.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman Killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Cassie. Plot reasons. Don't question it or reality will fold in on itself.
See, that's just it. I have to go. Oh! Well, Chase is dead.
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Oh.
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt
Douche.
and confused and
Yo, there you go.
Ah!
Kept a little something to remember him by.
You go, girl.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And
No,
she was
no, we
still
haven't.
holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up. But if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Little brother screaming responds with, "All right, I'm on my way."
You kidding? You're telling me if Gabe did the same thing, you wouldn't go running? Or you would go running?
Walter, are you there?
I'd walk quickly. I don't run. I run, bad things happen.
Vanished.
Remember, I've fallen through the floor in my house before.
Was
It's
still
fair.
on.
Orcas Island police described the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And whoever he was, he couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully. Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
I don't know, girl, run! Just walking? Just walking? Great. We did have to buy him time to leave.
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... At the door, she heard whispering.
Plot reasons. This is about to be plot reasons.
From inside the house.
Remember, this is supposed to be a bad comic book.
Oh dear.
The monsters
Where'd they
had
come from?
to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear.
Yeah.
Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
All right, music back on, please.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending. I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Downstairs we go. Fun fact, we could have played with the music box earlier, and we wouldn't have gotten the key to pop out, no matter how long we kept turning it.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot. I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that. I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
Very doomsday prepper.
Yeah.
Had a thing for model trains.
Trains.
That's not foreshadowing or anything. Characters on the train.
Oh.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today.
I probably need to turn off the music
I
again,
always
don't I?
expected to be dead tomorrow.
I
But if you
mean,
wait long enough, you get used to anything.
blah.
We'll find out.
Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly.
Remember this concept of the rumbling monster on the other side,
And then one
etc.
day, everything just stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave while I still can. I know it's out there somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly and Calvin. Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate
Trigger warning,
especially
starting
if you-
now. Give it 30 seconds.
I don't mind if I only have a year left. Or a month. Or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here. I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
So he was hit by a train.
Yep. The very train he was scared of for 30 years.
And all the shaking stopped.
For a
so
week.
There was no train.
Yep.
And then finally
Maybe
he
she
decides
was
to go
afraid
outside
I'd
and there's
end
a
up
train.
like Walter.
Yep. They were probably repairing the line for a week.
But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made,
Watch.
trying to bury something that's still alive.
So you gotta think, if 2005 the train was running, okay?
Now that there's only one of us left,
Yeah.
or maybe 2.
Wait till you see what it looks like.
it
Well,
was time I
no,
heard the
2010
stories
is
for
when they
myself.
left. This is set in
And found out what happened to
2017?
everyone else.
Question mark, I think. So this
But
is
now I'm worried
12
the
years.
stories themselves
Okay?
might be the
Let's say
problem.
it's 12 years.
Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
That happened in 12 years.
That coastal
All
erosion's
that
awful.
erosion. Yeah. So it's possible that they were doing maintenance of way for a week to shore up the line, and then we're running through here again.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
I also love that line. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse that we made it real.
Manifestations.
Yep.
I don't know if I should even be writing this. Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me.
Apparently not. Oh, that's a solar. Okay, I was going to say, I've always wondered why they were turning those on.
But I
Because
thought
the
you should know
electric was
about your
gone.
family.
But they're getting solar for those. Apparently the solar on them still
The
works.
history you're a part of. Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now.
By the way, we've officially hit 50%.
I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
We're now getting into the more relevant stories. The stories that directly impacted Edith over her lifetime.
And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible. I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
That's a entire
It's
thing
embarrassing
to
for me
think
admit
about.
this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Hmm. Derpy, Derpy Jr., Burpy, Chirpy, Furpy, Lurpy, Zerpy. Great names!
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Shotzi?
Actually, a common name for Pomeranians, believe it or not.
How? Why? For what? How do you know that? Why do you know that? And for what purpose?
For what purpose do I know that?
Yes.
All three of those answers are the same answer. Me.
Sven built the house.
You would
but it was
think by
Edie who
now you
designed
wouldn't
the
ask me these
cemetery.
questions.
Also, I love how every one of these matches the story of the person who died. So, like, Molly is the cat. Calvin's the day he decided to fly. Sven, we'll talk about in a minute. Edie, of course, crafted all the stories and was big into the library. Walter, part of the train tunnel. Barbara, star.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
Back here.
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from.
Okay.
Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better.
So, this is also a neat turning point, because this is like exactly 50% of the way through the story at this point.
Mm-hmm.
This neat little split in the guard of the graveyards.
Yeah.
This is what we just went through. This is all the precursors, all the family that wasn't like directly related, but close.
Okay.
This is direct relation now. Uncles, grandparents, etc. So you have Gregory, 1 year old, not even a year old. No, a year old, almost 2 years old.
Yeah.
I'm mathing, yeah. And then Sam and Gus. And then if we come down here, Milton, no death date, so possibly still alive. Everyone is holding out hope. Sanjay, who we'll find out
She
is
lost two of her
her
brothers,
daughter.
just like I did.
Or
I
not
get
her
why
daughter.
She tried so hard to protect
Edith's father. I can Flub.
Wow!
And then there's Lewis, and that crown is important. Okay.
There's so
Now,
many
come
things
back
I
up
wish
this
I could
way.
ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
I wouldn't climb on that, girl. Okay, then. I don't trust this very, very, very old deck
But looking back on it now,
that is rotting away.
if she told me there was going to be so much climbing,
I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
Chase, I would have given everything to see your face at that moment. On the reveal of 22 weeks pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. There it is.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common. They were both pretty intense.
Trigger warning for guns and hunting coming up. I will play around a little bit more in here just in case. Give people time to tune out if needed. Unfortunately, this is kind of trigger warnings the game.
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Am I gonna have to shoot anything? It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it?
Where is she? There.
I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
Aw. You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Anything else that way? Looking for... what else it wanted to focus on? Got all that zoom.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee. Hey!
That's a keeper. Hold still while I take a picture of you.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Dawn, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph? Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip.
Dad!
Good eyes, Dawn. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Left.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn off your
Trigger
imagination.
warning. 5,
Focus on your
4, 3, 2, 1. We are now in trigger territory.
Do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Great shot, Dawn! I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay?
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally
some-
normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Oy. All right, trigger warning is officially closed.
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
Okay, from here.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Nope. What? Why is it being put down? Not what I wanted. Come on.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it.
Huh? What? What's up, Fred? You two complained. The sound isn't right? Oh, it's copyrighted music. Oh. Well, that's a bummer. What to do? Hi, everybody. My name's Chase. I'll be your mild entertainment while this audio is muted. Fred, you gotta give me some help. I don't know what to do. I do not bore people to tears, but whatever. Well, I guess that could work. What's that, Fred? Oh, we should be back good? Cool. All right, everybody. Thanks. I appreciate you sticking with me. I'm going to put you back over to the normal sound now. Bye!
Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
All right.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he
Hey,
never met
Mike.
her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that I remember.
Husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Here's the words. Say, I knew I had to do something
When
with
the
them.
time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger. The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Picking up. Oh, there it is. Gotta pick up debris now.
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder."
Well, Mike, hopefully everything's going okay now, and hopefully you've got everything done. Come on. A couple of these triggers are really
I
weird.
wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
Oh no, Mike. I'll rest well. Let me know if I can do anything.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Greg, be a baby.
Be a baby.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go.
This is the part that, when I built this in Minecraft, Cassie looked at me and went, "You're insane."
I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
Because I have that transition set figured out in Minecraft.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal. But it didn't last.
Alright, my favorite part of the game.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
So this is What Remains of Edith Finch, Mike. Oh, we didn't update stream. the game and...
Whoops. Yep, I'm going. I messed up.
It is basically a walking simulator where you are learning what happened to your family. You are playing as Edith Finch. I love the music in this section. Wait a minute. Yeah, kind of. It's an interactive book where basically, you are the last Finch alive. You're playing Edith up at the top of the tree there. And essentially, you are trying to figure out what happened to the rest of your family and what's all involved in this so-called family curse. And you're basically trying to figure out, is there a way around it? What actually is the family curse, etc.? Because your mom kind of shielded you from all of it. And there isn't a lot of that that's ever discussed in the family because your character's mother always wanted to shield her kids from it, thinking that if they didn't know the curse, they wouldn't be able to play into it. We're finding out that's not the case. But this is now your character's brother, Milton, who disappeared when he was 10. And I love the music in this segment. There's a neat line in this, Mike, that I think you'll enjoy. It says, maybe we believed so hard that there was a family curse that we made it real. It's a really neat statement. There's Milton, some more of his art. And fun fact, there is art in here from another game that these same developers made called The Unfinished Swan, which people think is actually where Milton escaped to, based on this flip book that Milton drew.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
To a degree, Mike.
Disappeared.
I would love to find proper sheet music for that song one day.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
But fun fact, that's actually a level in The Unfinished Swan, I believe. You ever played Flower?
Whatever I found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
No, I have not played Flower. Okay, let's go ahead and turn the music back down. Huh.
Flower's another good game.
Mom
Well,
definitely
we might have to
blamed
add that to the
me, but
list.
I think Lewis blamed himself.
All right.
After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
When I was playing D&D a lot more, this story really hit home for me. because also the first time I played this was like right after high school, which was one of the darkest moments of my life.
Lewis's
And
room smelled very,
this is
very
where,
That part of him
unfortunately,
lived
the
on.
story kind of hits a little hard for me. Warning, there is a
Dear Mrs.
trigger
Finch,
warning for
as
self-harm
Lewis's
in
psychiatrist, I can
about
understand your desire for an
3-4
explanation.
minutes.
As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then, daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss, but he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band.
We'll give another trigger warning when we get closer.
And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Lewis.
Chase, I'm going to be looking for quick time decisions from you.
St. Louis.
He'll be making decisions in a moment.
He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis, until one day
There's
he forgot
no
to
evil.
go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a
handsome queen, beautiful prince.
Handsome queen.
handsome queen.
Sinister serpents, radiant rainbows.
Sinister serpents.
Sinister serpents.
Silver harp, electric sitar.
Electric sitar.
Mike also says sitar.
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the
Not
moon.
exactly, Mike. There are slight changes in how the story is
Even
told,
then, his logic
but
remained
not
sound.
enough to notice.
He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
Trigger
I
warning!
still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king
For
over
the
all lands
next
of wonder.
minute. Trigger warning for self-harm.
The palace would be packed with his companions.
Last warning. Alright, if you're still here now, good luck.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him.
Maybe. Maybe, Mike.
His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head. rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Oy. That one sucks.
He was so proud of being Indian. I think for him, it was a way to be something other than just a Finch.
Emotionally sucks. That's a great story,
On the way
but
back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie.
you are correct, Mike. You are correct.
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
All right. The last story.
But it had to end one way or another.
Yep.
All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Oh, no, I agree, Mike. It's not heartless because everything they've done at this point is strategically placed. Everything they do is for a reason, and it is fantastic story writing.
Yeah.
This game and Cana are my two favorite games, hands down.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Mike, 100%. I love Choose Your Own Adventure books. There's even been once or twice I've tried writing one.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles.
I like how they took the key away.
When my mom said
You
the
can't
library,
use it.
I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
The thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them.
Oh, there aren't many more spoilers, Mike. You're watching
Things
basically
I can't
almost the
explain,
ending.
but that
We're
I
almost
need you
done.
to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go. I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car, and I never saw Great Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
And that's the game. It's the story of Edith Finch as told by Edith and Edith's experiences. You were essentially just reading the story that she composed. To your point about the mental illness, I believe some of that was true. But I mean, Chase, you can sort of speak to part of it. I think part of it actually was just really dumb luck.
Yeah.
And I think that luck combined with mental illness, combined with past pretenses, a history of storytelling, and a very creative and imaginative family just overwhelmed, well, really everyone.
Yeah.
And I think all of that together is what did it. This game really is sort of an experiment. Kind of, Mike, kind of. This game is almost an experiment of dealing with grief and loss and understanding, where you came from and being able to separate that where you came from and where you are, I think is really valuable. And everybody I've talked to about this game who have seen the game or have watched me play the game over the years have all said that at least one character in this is something they have resonated with, which I think really sort of speaks to the writing quality, as well as just the fact of that's how this is supposed to play out, is, everybody has something that they relate to. And that's what I think makes it so timeless. Like, this is an 8-year-old game now? I think 8? God, if it's 8, I'm old. But Mike, I would highly recommend when we put the VOD out this coming week on Tuesday that you check it out. Because there's a lot in the beginning of this I think would really sort of change your perception or enhance your perception of the game a bit. Anything to add, Chase?
April 24th, 2017.
April 24th, 2017. So...
The 8 this year.
8
no,
this year.
7 this year.
7 this year. Okay. I was close.
Like in math, I swear.
I was close. God. Chiba. But yeah, this game hits harder every time I watch. It's really, I'm watching it. This is a movie that you are experiencing. And it is something that now that I've gotten the ability to slow down and just watch it because I know how to play it, gets even better. Anything to add, Chase?
Not that I can think of.
Well, I think, credit goes where credit's due. Annapurna Interactive and is it Annapurna Interactive for both?
Developers Giant Sparrow.
Giant Sparrow. So, I mean, the entire team at Giant Sparrow, the entire team at Annapurna Interactive, I think, did a phenomenal job with this. And I think if there's another game that would be worth looking at because of this game, it's Unfinished Swan. Because that is kind of the loose tie-in to this game, although entirely different.
Yeah, Gabe had messaged me and he's like, y'all are doing Edith? I'm like, yeah. He goes, ask if you're going to do Unfinished Swan.
It's definitely been on my radar. I have never played it. The reviews I've seen around it have been mixed because the gameplay didn't feel as finished as this one. I believe, I may be incorrect, but I believe Unfinished Swan actually came first in order of release, but then it's basically almost like the sequel to this, story-wise.
Unfinished Swan, release date October 16th, 2012, 5 years prior.
Yep, so Unfinished Swan was their first attempt, and then they made Edith Finch, and then they made What Remains of Edith Finch. So yeah, YouTube, thank you for sticking with us through all of this. Twitch, thank you guys so much for being there. I mean, you guys are down in the chat with us right now. Thanks for hanging out. Mike, I will definitely take a look at the movie you linked.
It's a good movie, but it's a tearjerker.
Gotcha. That said, I think we're going to go ahead and end the stream here. We'll see you guys tomorrow for some more Minecraft, followed by Railroader with the Chaos Crew.
Yay.
Chase, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
And chat, I've just got one question for you. Anyone for some customs? Bye.